This is my personal candy strategy, and this has never been shared before with the world. So if you are listening to this, you are getting a dietitian and diabetes educator who lives with diabetes personal candy manifesto in terms of what I would do with the candy. And then again, this is me. You can say this is entertainment purposes only, but regardless, this is what I would do if I was trick-or-treating right now. I'm not going to be trick-or-treating, but if I were, this is what I would do. Take the candy or your kid's candy, whatever it is, right? You have a haul of candy. Separate out, again, this is my opinion, all of the stuff that is just straight sugar. So we're talking Laffy Taffy, Starburst, Airheads. I think those are still a thing. Mike and Ike's, Smarties, the things that are no fat, no protein, just straight sugar. And the reason I say that is because those are going to be very effective low blood sugar snacks in the future. Welcome to the Your Diabetes Insider podcast, where we take all of the mysteries of blood sugar control, focusing on nutrition, exercise, and any of the other 40 plus factors that may impact your blood sugar. If you don't know me, my name is Ben Zeal. I'm a registered dietitian, certified diabetes educator, strength and conditioning coach, and I've lived myself with type 1 diabetes for over 20 years. And I am here to share everything that I have learned in both my personal and professional experience so you can live that incredible diabetes life. So get ready and let's dive right into today's episode. What is going on? Welcome to this episode of the Your Diabetes Insider podcast, where we have an amazing holiday coming up at the end of this week. And that holiday is like one of the Super Bowls of diabetes. You might be thinking, well, what do you mean? What's going on here? It's Halloween. And I want to make sure two things. Number one, you can take advantage of Halloween, whether you are participating as someone who's dressing up and going trick-or-treating, or whether you have a family member or a child who is going to be involved in Halloween. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing worse than the feeling that I had as a child where I was always basically, lack of a better term, ostracized. I was kind of put to the side, cast aside. You can't participate. You can walk around with everyone, but that was pretty much it. And that kind of ruins the entire spirit of everything, right? So I want to make sure you are prepared, you are confident, and you feel like you can participate to the extent that you want to. I'm not telling you to go out there and say, I'm going to have 15 Snickers bars and 4 Kit Kats. Like, that's not a good idea whether you have diabetes or not. But at the same time, I want to make sure that you can be safe, you can be successful, you can have a lot of fun while you're out there. And as we prepare for, drum roll please, National Diabetes Awareness Month, which is kind of a big deal because I feel like we rarely get the spotlight in the land of diabetes, and we finally will for at least a month. And then, Thanksgiving kind of gets in there and then it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. But I digress. Let's dive in to Halloween. I will forewarn you, I am exhausted. I came off of some wild travel, which I'm grateful I got to experience, but it was a lot. And I definitely was probably sick during a portion of that. And if not, a super intense type of illness, something that lingered for a while and definitely made it a little less than optimal. So forgive me in advance. But that being said, Halloween can have a lot of pros and cons, right? I remember life before diabetes, ever so slightly, life before diabetes was pretty awesome with Halloween, right? I remember I dressed up one year. I was a ninja. That was a really cool thing back in the late 90s. I'm really old now. And it was a lot of fun, right? You go trick-or-treating with your friends. Everything's great. I didn't have diabetes. I didn't think twice. It was totally good. I get diabetes. I go trick-or-treating that first year. So I'm 8 years old, I think. Just after being diagnosed, literally just after, like a couple months after. I remember I did not get to eat any of the candy. If I did, it was like one individual fun-sized candy. And then the rest of it was effectively confiscated. Don't know where it went. Don't know who it went to. We were told that it was, given to other people, but I have no idea where it actually went. And then from that point forward, I did not trick-or-treat until 4 years later, 5 years. It was a long time later. Like I was into middle school at that point. So it was a long time where I effectively just acted as if Halloween did not exist. And that was because of the diabetes, quite honestly. And because I was always told, no, you can't have the candy. You can't participate. What if you go low while you're walking around? What if there's no parents? Blah, blah, blah. You get the idea, right? There's always a reason as to why. And I don't want that to be your situation, whether you were diagnosed 3 days ago or whether you were diagnosed 30 years ago and you want to still participate. So here's what I can tell you. First things first, you're going to be walking. It's probably going to be brisk-ish, cold-ish, depending where you live. If you live up north, probably going to be cold. If you live down south, it's probably going to be perfect weather. So obviously dress accordingly, but recognize that you're going to be active, and you might be active for an hour. You might be active for 2.5, 3 hours. I don't know how long people are going out there, but you never know. So prepare as if you are going to be doing a lower intensity type of activity for the entire time. So, the days where you're like, I'm going on a marathon, I'm going to the grocery store, and then I'm going to go to Walmart, and then I'm going to go to this store and that store, and you're constantly walking around. Prepare the same way as you do for that, because those days, as much as you don't want to admit it, as much as you don't want to think about it, they are still technically a lower intensity type of activity, for better or for worse. That's just how they are. That's how your body classifies it. So you want to make sure that you are not setting yourself up for failure by not preparing as such. So bear in mind, that may be you are walking around and you're going to have to prepare from an insulin standpoint ahead of time. You may need a snack ahead of time. You might be like, well, I'm going to have candy. I'm going to be great. Cool. You've got your low snacks on you by definition because you're trick-or-treating, right? Or you're with someone who is trick-or-treating. But on the flip side, you want to make sure you are prepped from an insulin standpoint. You want to make sure you are prepped from a food standpoint, because the last thing you want, and again, obviously it's easier said than done, but the last thing you want is to have a low blood sugar. Everybody is waiting on you the entire time. And that's not fun for anybody. There's no other way to put it, right? You don't want to be the person that's, oh, we all have to wait for Ben because Ben's blood sugar is low and it ruins the whole effect and ruins the whole. No, you don't want that. You want to make sure you are prepared in advance. You also, though, don't want to make sure your blood sugar is running 280 the entire time, because then you're going to feel like trash and you're not going to be able to have the candy when it is time to have the candy, when you have your giant haul at the end of it. So that would be the first thing I would recognize. The second thing I would tell you is, of course, you got through the activity part. Congrats. Hopefully you're hydrating too, but you got through the activity part. You didn't have a low blood sugar. That's half the fun. But then the rest of the fun becomes, well, now you've got all this candy. Well, it's time to do something, right? You're probably going to eat some of it. This is my personal candy strategy, and this has never been shared before with the world. So if you are listening to this, you are getting a dietitian and diabetes educator who lives with diabetes personal candy manifesto in terms of what I would do with the candy. And this, again, this is me. You can say this is entertainment purposes only, but regardless, this is what I would do if I was trick-or-treating right now. I'm not going to be trick-or-treating, but if I were, this is what I would do. Take the candy or your kid's candy, whatever it is, right? You have a haul of candy. Separate out, again, this is my opinion, all of the stuff that is just straight sugar. So we're talking Laffy Taffy, Starburst, Airheads. I think those are still a thing. Mike and Ike's, Smarties, the things that are no fat, no protein, just straight sugar. And the reason I say that is because those are going to be very effective low blood sugar snacks in the future. So you effectively are getting a slight head start and stocking up of low blood sugar snacks that you can use. And because they're typically fun size, again, depends on the neighborhood, etc. But typically they're partitioned off pretty nicely for, this is 8 grams, this is 12 grams, this is 16 grams. It's roughly what you'd want for a low anyway. So why not just be smarter, be proactive, take that and immediately separate that out? Because now maybe that's 30%, 40%, 50% of your candy haul. But by definition, that's all put aside for when your blood sugar is low in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month or whatever. You are going to have something available that you can grab and go. It's going to be easy. And it's probably something that you like. Now, don't overdo it, but that's going to be my first move if I'm you. Now you're left with your Reese's, which Reese's have my heart forever. Your Reese's, your Milky Way, your Snickers, anything chocolate related, assuming you like chocolate. Again, all of this is assuming that you enjoy all different kinds of candy. If you don't like something, you got those Andes mints or whatever, trade them out with your friends, figure it out. But if you've got the chocolate candies, of course, here's what I would suggest. Of course, you're going to want to have some. You're going to want to make sure if you are on insulin, this is provided on insulin for this particular example, dose, but you're going to need to make sure it kicks in, right? The timing is going to be everything. If you dose and immediately eat it, you're going to have a high blood sugar because it's going to hit you like this and there's going to be fat involved. You're going to go up high and you're going to sit high. And we don't want that. You don't want that. So I would then say, okay, your dosing's on point. I would try to limit yourself to 30 grams of carbs, 35. And that's not because I'm like, oh, well, you should have 30 to 45 grams at every meal. It has nothing to do with that. It's just straight from there's nothing useful in candy, like from a blood sugar standpoint and from a health standpoint, other than the fact that it tastes good and makes people happy. There's really nothing from a utility standpoint that's going to do for you. So why put a lot of emphasis on that? Does that make sense? So I would then say, okay, let's Butterfinger. That's a good one. Let's say you say, I'm going to have a Butterfinger. I'm going to have too many Reese's and I'm going to have a couple of those little midnight Snicker things, right? Let's just say that's 30-ish grams. And it may not be, I may be close, but let's just assume that's what you want. You dosed in advance. You did what you had to do. If you're type 2, okay, we're looking at, okay, you just were very active, which is great. So it's probably the best time to have it if you're going to have it. But concurrently, right, you also had a limited portion, and the rest of that goes with your low snacks. You just kind of shuttle it away. Give it to a friend, give it to a parent, give it to somebody else so you don't have to worry about consuming more. Because like I said, there's nothing useful. The only way said chocolate is going to be useful, quite frankly, is if you are somebody who is going to be like, I'm making this up, but you just did a crazy workout earlier in the day. Maybe you ran 10 miles, maybe, lifted really heavy at the gym or something. And then you did all of this. Fine. It might help replenish your glycogen store, but there's no other utility for it. It just tastes good and it makes people happy. So you have your candy, you portioned it out, which portion control is a major component. Your medication's on time. You prepped with activity. You're set. That's it. Eat the candy, enjoy the candy, savor the candy. Don't just snarf it down in 5 seconds. Actually do what you went out to do. You came, you saw, you conquered, you got a pot of candy, you got low snacks over here. You've enjoyed the rest, a chunk of the candy while you're with your pals and your fam and whoever else. And the rest of it's good for a different time. Hey, throw one in lunch every day, right? Throw 1 or 2 in lunch every day. You have a few extra grams, something sweet at the end of the day. Maybe you've got something at, dinner time, right? Similar type of concept. But that's it. You've effectively mastered Halloween by doing those few things. You're still participating. You're not feeling deprived. You've enjoyed what you set out to do. You didn't have any low blood sugars. You didn't have any high blood sugars. You did it to the best extent that you could. Now, if you're at like a party or something, there's cupcakes, there's this and that. Maybe you're skipping the candy in favor of a cupcake. I personally would do that, but that's just me, right? Like maybe you're swapping it out because that candy's shelf stable. That will be good for a while. And then throughout the next few weeks, 1 or 2 goes into the lunch, right? 1 goes into the dinner. Maybe it's 1 and 1, right? To have a little bit of sweetness at both, but nothing crazy. The portion is going to be the key. The dose is the poison, right? It's going to be a problem if you decide to eat 6 pieces at one time. You're not on point with your medication. You're not on point with your activity, and you're just sending your blood sugar to the moon. That's when you're going to have an issue with it. The Halloween does not have to be complicated. If you take that straight as I just told you, you're enjoying everything and you're also prepping for the future, not just future enjoyment of, hey, I'm going to throw 1 mini Kit Kat in with my lunch tomorrow, but you've also got low snacks for a while as well. And you could even go out there. I've heard of people and patients where they've gone out there with the intent of only getting low snacks. Maybe they have a couple, Reese's or whatever, but they're like, I only want low snacks from here on out. I don't need any of this stuff in my life, but I do know I'm going to have lows. I might as well supplement my lows to the best I can. So that's the thing you have to remember as well. So it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's literally just, am I doing what I need to do to make sure I can thrive in this particular situation? And you can. And that's how to do it. That is literally how to do it. So don't make it complicated. Don't be like me when I was a child where, again, I didn't have to say in this, but I didn't get to go trick-or-treating at all. It was just like, well, you don't do that. We don't do that around here. And that's okay, right? If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But if you're like, I want to participate and I want to have fun, this is one very simple way that you can do it and you can enjoy yourself while still setting yourself up for the future and thriving. And then the holiday ends on, of course, the end of the month on October 31st. November 1st, I jokingly would call Halloween like a Super Bowl because the next day, what happens? All that candy is now 50% off because they're trying to get all the Christmas stuff in. They're trying to get all the Thanksgiving stuff in. All that candy is 50% off. So then you can go and get specifically the stuff that's low snacks and get it for a fraction of what it normally would be. Now, while I'm on this topic, and this is probably a good thing to mention because I didn't discover this until a couple months ago. It wasn't too long ago. But if you're like, I want low snacks on a budget, right? Obviously, buy in bulk, right? Like you can do stuff like that. The trick I have found, this was a complete accident. I stumbled upon this, but it worked out great for me, was I went to Marshall's. And you can go to Marshall, I think Beal's is another thing that's similar, TJ Maxx, one of those. I just went in there because it was next door to the gym. And I was like, I'm just going to, poke around and see what's here because it's fun. Got Roscoe P a toy. It was great, but great place for dog toys. But I digressed. Go into the back. There's the snack area. Sometimes they have some fun stuff, right? I've gotten like ashwagandha there, which is a good supplement. I've gotten some different things there. They had a table that was like the clearance or sale area. And they had a ton of things that were low snacks. There was a massive bag of gummy worms. I don't like gummy worms. So they're the perfect low snack for me because they're disgusting. They have no fat. They have no protein. They're just straight carbs and straight glucose. So I knew I could go get the gummy worm bag, go grab 5 gummy worms, and that's, 16 or 17 grams. I'm good. So that is a place, I think it was like $2, this massive, like 30 serving bag. So keep in mind, that's a place where you could consider going. Obviously, after you've eaten all of your Halloween stuff and gotten the half off stuff, but that's a place you can consider going to get some more low snacks on the low. So stash that one away. That was a pretty helpful one for me and definitely something you can consider as well. But That being said, I hope that you feel more adequately prepared for Halloween to thrive, to enjoy it. I'm really excited to hear how it goes this year. If you decide you're going to, go out there and dress up, or you're going to go with your kid and make sure that they're safe, if they have the diabetes, or that you're safe, even though you're walking around with them and you're not participating, making sure that you are good to go. But this is a way where you can make sure Halloween is a success, not just for the day of, but for the weeks after the fact. So I hope you found this useful. If you're loving the podcast, would love if you dropped a 5-star review on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you are listening. It would mean the absolute world to me. And if you're someone who's, hey, I want a little more support, I want amazing blood sugars, I want to feel my best with great blood sugars while eating foods I love and participating in activities I love with the people I love. While diabetes does not feel like a big deal, my team and I are here to help. We're all dietitians. We all get it on a personal and a professional level. And we've got exercise background, so we've got your back. Message me on social media at manofzeel, MANOFTZEEL, or holler at me at yourdiabetesinsider.com. With this, I will catch you in the next episode.
Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey.